What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Log Horizon Episode 10. And this episode, it was rather touching. And it also had me worried a little bit. So, it starts off with Marie and Yumiko. But what we all know in the game, she goes by Hironetta. She's out getting some food. But of course, Yumiko is just trying to keep her on track because, she's getting really distracted. So we learned that a week has passed since the conference, but we actually go back in a flashback so they can finally wrap this up. Now, I'm not going to go into, every single detail about this meeting, but I will point out, what really struck out to me. So, of course, they're like making all these rules where, where it'd be like a crime now if you kidnap or imprison a player, because death is not important here, because every time you die you just get sent back to the cathedral, so it's not a big deal. But what really had me worried is when they were talking about the people of the land and how they should be working with them rather than opposing them or not having any relation with them, because if this keep up, then the damage between them, it will be, non-repairable, and that could lead to a war. And now that thought, really had me concerned that, a war could break out, because these people who were once, not important at all, they now, have a major role in the game because they're like real people. And it was also cool how they pointed out where you could like basically, invent things from the real world in the game, because they will work. Like we have all, the three major crafting guilds. They made a steam engine and something like that, it was never seen before till now. So that right there, what was really cool. So I'm glad, that we have all these people that are just like coming together and they're like working all this out. So now every guild that has stayed besides the Silver Swords, they have all agreed to this conference. And Isaac of the Black Swords Knight, he's not really a bad guy. I mean, yeah, he gives off that vibe, but he's actually a pretty good person. So we learned that guild, Hamulin, they have now disbanded. But while they were in prison, some players were actually dumb enough to kill themselves just to get out of there. But of course, some of them were smart enough to use a spell that has sent them to the gate. But because they could no longer use that building, the guild building, they disbanded and left the town. So that right there was definitely nice. I'm glad that those bastards are out of there. And so we learned that there's going to be a rule that every time you use the guild building, you have to pay a 1 gold, tax fee. And gold is something that is not that bad, because it's really easy to live in this world. And now that people are motivated because the economy, Shiro, master plan is like really showing here. And so now that like people actually wanna have this food or wanna have like nice things, because they'll come out really well because of the crafters. We see that the combat guilds, or people that are being bought like mercenaries, they are now seeing a profit as well. So the life here has definitely returned, or it is returning. And we see the guild building for Log Horizon, and even though there was a tree going through it, I actually thought the building was actually pretty perfect. So I definitely like that. And of course, like while they were getting things, ready or clean up the place, we have, or we saw all these guilds stopping by. Like we have Isaac and the Black Knights. They had came, and the summoners summoned all these water spirits that were cosplaying, and that right there, really had me laughing. But like even though he said they were doing it for practice, they actually used their water spells to clean up the place. And when they were walking off, and the animation, kind of went like to a cool style freeze frame, I was definitely impressed, because those guys definitely look pretty cool. But then we have Shoji and Suzuna, who was also a member of the Tea Party. They had stopped by to give them a welcoming present. I think it was a cherry sake, But then we had Marie and Hironetta. They had came and delivered up all this food, and of course, Hironetta cannot leave Akatsuki alone. So she bought this children kimono for her, and she actually, made her wear it at one point. But throughout the episode, we see like these people wearing these rings, and at first I had no idea, what it meant, because it was like kind of confusing. Like, how come you just focusing on the ring? But then we see Shiro, the leader of D.D.D, or at least his assistant. They have all noticed that the people of the land, they're like kind of like spying on them. And so, now their fear is kind of becoming real, because it's possible that a war could like really break out here. So that's definitely, not good. And so then we have who was, when Marie and Hironetta were actually leaving the Log Horizon building, Shiro asked him about Minori and Toya, because every kid that they took out from that dark guild, they had wanted to join Crescent Moon, except for Toya and Minori, because we see they were like stalking out the building, but it was like they were too scared to go to Shiro. But it wasn't until Nayanta, who was making curry, and I did not expect them all, to get so happy and freak out over some curry, but they all like really love it. And especially now that it'll taste like, the real thing, they are definitely excited for it. But he actually came back early with the kids, and they had now officially, joined Log Horizon, which is obvious. And then we have these three warriors that were looking for like low-level players. And I do believe that these three were members of the former Hemulin, but like some guy who was acting like, he was all that came along, he was only a level 20. Now I'm pretty sure they're like showing this guy because he might join Log Horizon. Because why else would they show him if he's not going to join that guild? But because he was so weak, they had left him, and now, that was it. So we're probably gonna see him, like, because he's so weak, we might see like Shiro and the other members save him, and that right there could be a way that he'll want to join, to repay his debt to them. At least it's like a simple idea that they could work in. But we actually got a flashback of when Shiro was like first planning to make a Log Horizon, and you can just see that Natsuko and Akatsuki were just waiting for him to do this. And then at the beginning of the episode, they were all eating curry, and it was definitely nice. But you could just see that now that Shiro is still accepting what just happened with him. Like now he's a guild master, because before he never wanted to join the guild, but now he has his own. So we are definitely getting major character development for him, because he now had to go through this new role. And I definitely can't wait to see what kind of trials and like struggles he'll have to go through and overcome. But yeah, at the beginning of the episode, we actually like see what those rings meant, and it's kind of like represent the people of the land, because apparently they're just like this king. I believe his name is Siriate. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but he's like some kind of king, and we see that his mate had brought some princess. Now I don't know what kind of role she's gonna play, because she might actually be a real player that's like taking on this princess role, but I'm not too sure. But I am hoping that we'll like see more about this guy and this princess in the next episode, because just having them appear at the end like this, I definitely don't know too much, so I can't say too much about them. But yeah, like I said, this episode, it was definitely good. I am worried about this war, because I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm hoping that if we get a war, it's not going to be that bad. But as always, guys, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I would love to hear what you thought about this episode, if you liked it or not. But as always, you gotta take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.